back to the channel, everybody, and hope everyone's had a good week so far. Let's get into it. Plenty of stories I want to go through. I guess I haven't really had the major breakthrough yet on any of our transfers, but there is certainly news on all of them, so we're going to have a recap and a latest news on several players. Some of them we have been linked to several times already this window, and some of them we are yet to have seen before. Now, let's get kicking things off with Matthias de Ligt. This one does seem to be a story with a lot of legs in it, and it does seem to be something that United is going in for, and I would be surprised if we don't at least make some kind of formal bid for Matthias de Ligt in the coming days, probably once the Netherlands do bow out of Euro 2024. Now, de Ligt, look, as we know, it hasn't quite gone to plan for the guy. A lot of promise early in his career, a lot of potential early in his career, and for me, I think he's a risk. I think he's a gamble. Could it be a gamble worth taking? I think that's the question that we would like to ask ourselves on tonight's show. Now, on Matthias de Ligt, we do have a set price from Bayern Munich, and it's pretty good. It's ranging anywhere between 34 and 40 million pounds. Not a bad deal for a player of that caliber, of his age. He certainly is a good player whenever he's fit, and fitness is probably the main concern I have with him. We had stories come out overnight that Matthias de Ligt would be willing to take a pay cut to join Man United. That will help us, of course, because his wages are very high at Bayern Munich at the moment. But if we can get those wages down, that's a good indication for me. Now, on the injury front, now this is maybe the big concern with Matthias de Ligt, maybe the only concern maybe we really have. At this moment in time, Matthias de Ligt is heavily linked with a move to Manchester United, trained apart from the Netherlands group this morning. This was due to minor injury complaints. Now, so he hasn't trained with the Dutch team. Good evening to Nubis. He hasn't trained with the Dutch team today. He was doing some individual training. Now, look, this is a guy we know has a long injury history. Knee issues do seem to be a problem with Matthias de Ligt. Now, I think this is one of two things. I think either genuinely he has picked up a little niggle, or secondly, he's thinking about a move to Manchester United and doesn't want to risk anything at the moment. Let's see where this one develops. This is definitely a story with legs. This is definitely a story with some truth behind it. No, there's no smoke without fire, and there is quite a lot of smoke around Matthias de Ligt at this moment in time. And interestingly, he's not really being used by the Dutch. They're going with the more experienced options at the back, De Vrij, Van Dijk. De Ligt's barely featured in this European Championship so far for the Netherlands, and it's an interesting one to keep an eye out on. If he does continue to train away from the club, do we start to think, is this guy genuinely injured, or is this protecting himself, or Bayern Munich asking him to protect himself in case they're going for a sale? We know they want to sign Jonathan Tah. We know they want to sign at least one other centre-half. De Ligt kind of fell out of favour at times last season. Kim Min-jae preferred. Of course, Dayot Upamecano also preferred. So, interesting stories on that there one. We do have a lot of Matthias de Ligt news that is starting to filter through from a lot of sources, good sources in England, good sources in Germany, and it does look like this is a deal that we could maybe see happen. I think personally, reading into it, this is a sort of deal that has Erik ten Hag's fingerprints all over it. It does seem like a Ten Hag deal. We know he's liked to have signed players he's firstly worked with before, or secondly has a good working knowledge of their overall game. It's a decent price, as Nubis says. Hello to Ashid and to Rajad as well down below. He's looking to know Diogo Costa. Yeah, look, it was between Costa and Onana last season, but we went for Onana. But yeah, very impressive from Costa the other day. But we'll stick to Matthias de Ligt, because I think this is the one with the story that really does seem to have some legs in it. As Nubis has pointed out, there is talks of a £34 million price. That comes from Pete Hall. He says Bayern Munich would be willing to accept a deal worth £34 million plus add-ons. That kind of features into what the overall story has been. We got reports initially £42 million plus add-ons. Maybe it's going to be £42 million including add-ons. Maybe that's going to be the add-on price to Matthias de Ligt. Hopefully we can get a deal done. It does look to be something he's quite confident of, and according to Pete Hall as well in the same article, United are hopeful of signing Matthias de Ligt and Joshua Zirkzee within the next week. I think a lot's going to depend on the Netherlands their result at the weekend. I think they're going to play Turkey next, potentially, in Euro 2024. If they go through, look, it'll be pushed back. And I've been saying this for a while, guys. It might be a frustrating summer initially with players who we might be linked to going pretty deep in the competition. So you could be looking at Netherlands holding that deal up. You could be looking at Uruguay holding up a potential Ugarte deal. But one deal that would not be held up is Sergio Reguillon. Now, Reguilon, as we know, played for United last season, had about 6 months. He was always decent to okay. I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say Sergio Reguilon was absolutely fantastic for us, but it does look like we have some kind of an interest in signing Sergio Reguilon again, either on loan or as a cheaper permanent option. Now, this would suggest to me United are thinking down the line. We're in an interesting position in our left-back area. We have, of course, Luke Shaw, first choice. Very injury prone. We have Tyrell Malacia, didn't play at all last season, didn't kick a ball once for the team. And then we got Harry Amas coming through, very, very highly rated, young 16-year-old left back. Bringing someone like Reguilon in probably doesn't hold back the development of someone like Amas, and maybe that's something the club are thinking, that Harry Amas could be the long-term successor to that left-back spot. If he develops as he should, as he's got the talent to do, we could be looking at our next left back already in the club, in the academy. Do we then want to sign someone who's going to come in and block his pathway to first team opportunities, or do we go for someone a little bit cheaper like Sergio Reguilon with an eye on the future? Maybe that's what we're going to be doing. We know we've got limited budget. We know we need 2 centre backs, probably 2 midfielders and a striker. Left back, it isn't a priority option. Sergio Reguilon does represent some kind of value in that we know what we'd be getting. He's a hard-working player. I don't think he's the best left back in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but I wouldn't be too against this signing in the same way that I wasn't too against him last season. I do think there's more interesting options out there. There's better options out there, of course, but maybe that's what we're looking at. Long-term thinking, Amas is going to make the step up within the next year to 2 years, so let's bring someone in short-term cover. Luke Shaw can be moved on when he hits around 30 years old. Maybe we move Reguilon on at that point as well. You still have Malacia at the club potentially. So let's just see what happens in the left-back area. It is an area we need to strengthen in, and I think it was a really, really poor decision by United to let Reguilon leave in the first place, because we went the rest of the season without a left-back, and we do need left-footers in our team for balance, for the overall defensive shape. So maybe Reguilon is someone we consider bringing back. Rajat's on there, 34 million for Gutierrez. Agreed, or is that fake? It's one of those, buddy. There was talk about it. I like Miguel Gutierrez from Girona. I think whenever we look at him, all things considered, it's probably it's probably a deal that Real Madrid might do. I think he might actually be a Real Madrid player under contract. I'm not 100% sure. It does seem to be a pretty interesting one there, but you have 2 suitors really for Gutierrez who might be ahead of us. You've got Real Madrid, of course, who would be interested in him. He's at Girona, and if he is a Girona player, I'm not too sure on his contractual situation, but then he would be part of the City football group, and they might be looking for a left back. Of course, they played Gvardiol there for the majority of last season, but do they look to move Gvardiol back to his preferred centre back position and bring in Gutierrez? Maybe that's something City might think about doing. But we do have links. Omar Barada starts work next week. He was, of course, in the City football group. It's not possible to get people out of it, and there is a connection there with Barada, so maybe that is something to keep an eye out on. But this Reguilon deal has kind of come a little bit out of left field, but it is definitely one to keep an eye out for as well. Another quick update on the centre backs as well is coming from Sky Sports. This again kind of showing us what we're thinking and what way we're moving in the market. United are looking to sign 2 centre backs in this window, one to replace Rafael Varane, and another one will be dependent on the future of Victor Lindelof, who is of interest to Fenerbahce, and Harry Maguire, who is also potentially looking to leave the club. Talks will continue for Matthias de Ligt. We know this as well. Interest in Jared Brandtwitt remains strong, but United would let the player to push for the move. Now, we've seen this here as well, guys. You know, we've had these talks about Jared Brandtwitt, that he is seemingly a little bit annoyed over Everton's dealings in the transfer market. He wouldn't mind talking to other clubs. Let's see how that one develops. Big ups to Steph for joining in down below as well. Guys, drop a like on the video as well if you can. We're on 13 likes. Let's see if we can get up maybe to 30. We've got 28 people in here. Rajat said as well, would take Aitneri or Kerkez as well. Wan-Bissaka going to sign for Everton or West Ham. I could see Wan-Bissaka going. I don't think that's too far out of the realms of possibility, but I would be concerned about our right back spot because that would pretty much just leave Diogo Dalot there. Yes, we've seen Kambuala play there a little bit, but we'd probably prefer to have a more natural option who can play at right back as well. And Nuba said when Ten Hag came to United, he spoke to Garnacho at the end of the first year. He spoke to Manu during the FA Cup finals, and a few weeks ago he spoke to Harry Amas. Yeah, I would say there's a plan at United to get Harry Amas involved in the first team. He is a very, very good young player, and there's quite a few coming through. I think I did an academy video a while back. I might do a second one, just a little follow-up on that, but there's a lot of good young players coming through our youth academy. Let's see what happens with them, but certainly this Reguilon deal has kind of come out of left field. It does look like a deal maybe that could be done if we're struggling to get the funds together to bring in everybody we want. You know, centre-back, midfield, striker has to be the core of what we're going for. We want to strengthen the spine of our team. And yeah, look, I got Steph down below. Good to see you. Irfan needs it. Here we go. Nuba said Bologna won 50 million for Calafiori. It's a decent price. Arsenal and Chelsea competing. Should United go in for him? Yeah, I think so. I think Calafiori is a very, very good player, and I would like to see him brought in. Whether or not we can get that deal done, whether or not Bologna will sell us both Zirkzee and Calafiori, two of their best players, I'm not too sure. Let's find out how that one goes. But you know, no, I don't think he's got a buyout clause, so I think that might factor into things as well. There is an interesting story as well coming out, guys, today that United are set to let go of 250 members of staff, and I'm not overly happy with this. If you ask me, Manchester United should be at the heart of the community, and it should be a community-based club. We should be a big employer within the Manchester area, and that's kind of what you want to feed, a connection between the fans who have felt that they've been pretty left out of the club, who have been shown a pretty cold shoulder by the previous ownership. I think that you would like to see us be a bigger employer. According to people online who I have read up on, some people I think are pretty trustworthy, they say, look, the average price of and the average wage of United employees is about £35,000 a year. It's not a lot of money. It works out maybe £7 million in a calendar year in terms of wages for those people, and it's disappointing. You know, it's frustrating for them. I'm sure a lot of them had dreams of working for United. Now they might end up losing their jobs. So, to me, I think I'd rather get rid of a first teamer or something like that. That £7 or £8 million is a couple of months' salary for some of our worst players, and yet they might stay. I don't know though. But look, this is a story coming in from Mike Keegan. United going to make a quarter of the workforce redundant. After meetings on Wednesday, staff were given the bombshell that up to 250 of the 1,100 employees will be losing their jobs. It is thought that there's two key factors behind this move. Following Enio's arrival, the priority has been on the performance of the first team. And cost cutting will be to run into tens of millions, and that cash is set to be invested in Ten Hag's playing squad as well. Compliance with the profit and sustainability rules has also played a part in the decision. I think that's kind of disappointing, guys. You know, it is. Stephanie down there as well saying staff redundancy is very poor news. Yeah, it's not what you want to see. Like that's a quarter of our workforce going to get let off. It's frustrating. It's really not that much money, when we could save money by getting rid of some of the really high earners and poor delivers in the first team. You know, that might be a month's salary for like Jadon Sancho and Anthony combined. Maybe even less than that. So, you know, that's kind of the streets that we're talking about in here as well. I have SVD on there, just popped into the stream, wondering what the set price is by Bayern. Sorry if you already said it, only popping in. Yep, of course, buddy. The set price seems to be £34 million plus add-ons. The talk initially that came out for Matthias de Ligt was that they wanted 42 million. It does look like that might be in the form of £34 million cash and then £8 million in performance bonuses, appearances, trophies, however we want to work it. I don't think we're going to be seeing Ballon d'Or clauses. Don't worry, guys. Robert's on there. Sorry of hearing. I'm tired of hearing the same news. Yeah, absolutely, Robert. You know, it is frustrating. We want to get, you know, our transfer dealings done. I did warn that this might be a frustrating start to our transfer window, that the first couple of weeks might be pretty slow. You might see a lot of repeat stories as we look to do deals with clubs and agents before we can get things done when players come off international duty. If three of our big targets in this window are going to be Manuel Ugarte, Matthias de Ligt and Joshua Zirkzee, well, we have Zirkzee and Ligt both with the Netherlands squad. They're into the quarterfinals of the European Championships. And then, of course, we have Ugarte, who is into the quarterfinals of Copa America. It's frustrating. It's not quite what we wanted. We wanted these deals done as quickly as possible. It's what we always wanted. We would love to be sitting here on the 31st of July with all our dealings done, and we can enjoy the build up to the start of the season, not worrying about who we're signing. We don't want repeats of last year where we've Højlund coming in late, where we have Amrabat coming in late, Reguilon coming in late, Bayern coming in late. That's not what we want either. Stephanie says medical department needs shake up. Yeah, absolutely does need a massive shake up. Nuba said, correct me if I'm wrong, but these stuff are mostly lawyers or something. I think Ennio's mentioned United had too many lawyers. We're not too sure what they are at the minute. All this probably will have to be made public anyway because we are a public limited company, so do expect to see some stuff in that. I have FECK saying shout out from Jakarta. Big ups to the Indonesians as well in the chat. Honestly, guys, this is a really small channel. I always said this here, but genuinely there's people from all over the place. It's brilliant. Jarl said, never fun to remove staff, but sometimes business does remove bloated staff. United's got a lot of them. Yeah, it's not their fault. It's previous administration's fault, but you never like to see people losing their job, and you would like to see United being a big employer in the Manchester area. It's where we're based. It's where we've always been based, and we want to be at the heart of the community. That's meant to be part of the drive, and that's supposedly going to be part of our big brand new Old Trafford, brand new redevelopment of the entire area. Is that we want to be at the heart of that community in Manchester, but job layoffs don't quite add up to that. SVD just sub, big ups buddy, thanks very much. And Rajat said, can Portugal win the Euros? Maybe. Anybody can win it at this point. I know it sounds a bit redundant to say if you're in it you can win it, but you can. I think they'll have to play better to get past France. I think France will also have to play better to get past Portugal as well, because neither of those teams have been massively impressive so far in the tournament. Let's just see what it's going to come down to. It'll be an interesting couple of matches. I'm very much looking forward to Spain against Germany. Probably the two teams playing the best football in the tournament so far, so that should be a good one. Ideally that could be a final. That's good enough to be a final based on the way they've played so far in this tournament. But anyways, SVD, not too bad. Rajat said go for Lucchini 2 from Bologna. Man, we can't just buy all the Bologna players. I know they're good, and I know they're really technically solid players, but we can't get them all, unfortunately. I'd be happy with Zirkzee. If we can get Calafiori, man, I'd be absolutely delighted with that there, to be honest. But we'll see how it goes. Stephanie says, live early likes really helps channel growth. Yeah, guys, drop a like if you guys can. And we've got new subs on the channel as well today. I think 5 or 6 people have subbed so far in the first 15 minutes of the stream. Unbelievable. Thanks so much for that one. Anyway, I'm going to check the poll. So the thoughts on Ligt. I've been asking you guys, where are we standing on Ligt? I don't think we doubt his quality when he's fit, but it's when he's fit. I think that's my big concern. We don't really want more injury-prone players. So keeping this guy protected, keeping him fit, keeping him able to play, I think is going to be key. On the Ligt, 61% say, yeah, bring him in. 23% say, yeah, bring him in, but for the right price. 14% say, yes, but his injuries do worry me. And 2%, only one person, I think, out of the 58 votes so far, have said, no, I don't want Matthias de Ligt. So a lot of support for Matthias de Ligt in the fan base, in the channel. Let's just see what's going to happen with this one. I think this is a deal we get done, to be honest, guys. I'd be surprised at this point if we don't. A lot of talk about it. It's a good price. It's a player Ten Hag's worked with before. He's not going to veto that. And there was reports that came out earlier saying that Dan Ashworth is happy with the quality of de Ligt as a potential signing as well. So definitely does sound like that as well. Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic had an interesting report that I would like to bring up to you guys, and we'll run through some of it because some of it does shed a light on some of the improvements we need at United. We need a big one. Verfan down there, German win. Nibis, England have the easiest bracket. Yeah, they do. They definitely do. Nibis said as well, Brighton targeting Mats Pfeiffer, going to cost around 25 million. I think 2 years is market value will increase to 50. Yeah, look, it'd be a smart deal. I could see him going to Liverpool as well, though. He might follow Arne Slot over there. And Jarl said, de Ligt's not injury prone, he's only 24 years of age and has played 390 games. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I wouldn't say he's a player who breaks on all the time, but what concerns me is at 24 he's had numerous knee injuries. in the same areas, always to his knee ligaments. So is that going to be a problem moving forward? Is that going to digress and get worse? I'm not too sure. But anyway, this Laurie Whitwell article was really interesting. Former employees The Athletic has spoken to said United were first to promise youth talent in recent years, only for the club to move quickly when it ultimately mattered. And there's a whole list of players we missed out on who would definitely be playing for us at the moment. We could have Pedro Neto was turned down at 17. Benjamin Chesko, we turned down a chance to sign him for 2 million. Jamal Musiala, we could have had on a trial after he left Chelsea, I think at age 16. So we could have had Musiala in our team right now, you know, if we made that move, but we never did. And we turned him down. So some very interesting moves there by United anyway. Not convinced on them at all. Like I'm really, really not. And some of those players would definitely be starting for us. Sesko would be a really good player for us. Jamal Musiala, what else needs to be said there? Anyway, Fabrizio Romano has given us a small update on the De Ligt deal. This one does seem to have the most legs in it at the moment. Personal terms will not be an issue with De Ligt, as his agent is only in negotiations with United. The player's priority would be to join the club, and it will now be down to the club to work out a deal and its structure. So it does look like that. He further adds Matthias De Ligt has given the green light to Manchester United after direct contacts with his camp. I'm pretty sure that De Ligt is going to be an SEG represented player anyway, so they've got their hands all over United, and they're absolutely everywhere with so many of our players, even our management. So I would be surprised if this is a hard deal to do. And for De Ligt, it makes sense. He's kind of fallen out of favour at Bayern Munich. It doesn't look like he's going to get into the first team anymore. They're looking to move him on. He's probably ready to move on as well. Erik ten Hag, his former boss, who brought him into the game, of course. And then obviously we have the relationship already with the agency with Bayern Munich, so I could see this happening. No other clubs look to be in talks with him as well, which is good. We got a free run at this. Anyway, a small update from Alex Crook, who has added, guys, Manchester United are willing to cash in on Harry Maguire. He does have admirers both in England and in Italy. I think that makes sense. If De Ligt comes in, I would be surprised if we do keep Harry Maguire. I could see one off, maybe both Lindelof and Maguire going. I feel like Lindelof's the worst player though. I'd rather keep Maguire, to be honest, but maybe that's just me. Nibis is down there. Maybe that's the same reason Ineos are signing Wes to sign today, but constantly rely on De Ligt. Yeah, look, I think we need two centre backs, guys. You know that's what we need. I think we need two, and I think you could maybe see a deal worked out eventually to sign Jean-Claude Tadebo, but I don't know, like it's an interesting one. I've never seen clubs threaten legal action to sign players before. I've never really seen anything like that. I'm sure you guys haven't either. So it's the ever-changing world of football. But anyway, look, for people who are new into the stream, we will have a quick recap on one of our earlier stories. Maybe this is one that isn't particularly exciting. It isn't particularly jump off the page excitement and massive name player, but Sergio Reguillon could be of interest to United again. This is coming from, I think, Dia Roaz, who is a Spanish source, but there's also talk in the London press as well today that United might be interested in going in for Reguilon. Now, if we have Harry Amas in the team, in the squad, who could be a player for the future, only 16 years old, very, very good prospects. At left back, you've got Luke Shaw already there, who has questionable fitness. Does Reguilon as a backup make sense? And does that allow you then to make a pathway for your really good young player to get into the team into the future? Probably does. It might be not a negative move, but just a pretty uninspiring move, to be honest. But I think we know what we get with Sergio Reguilon. We know he's a working player. Yes, he tries hard and he works hard for the team. He will get up and down and he'll make the tackles and he will put the effort in, which is good. You know, we know what we're getting personality wise. We know what we're getting in terms of his quality. I don't think he's the best left back in the world. I don't think anyone would really make that argument. But if we bring him in, is it that bad of a deal if it's on loan or as a cheaper signing? I'm not too sure, but I don't know. I've Katie as well saying we need to keep Harry, even if we sign Brandtwitter today, but we need quality and depth. Yeah, we do, absolutely. The plan couldn't have been last year for Johnny Evans to play. I think Johnny Evans played 15 times in the league for us last year. That's almost half of our league matches. And Johnny Evans was brought in as a player to come in and train with United to get fit. I'm not too sure. Bart said, will I appear on the agenda? I will indeed. I'll have to talk to Bath Time about that, but possibly at the weekend. Probably for one of the Euro shows. I think that's when they would want me back on. So it'll line up with that there. Rajat said, I really don't want Jean. He doesn't want Jean-Claude Todibo. Fair enough. Like, everyone's got their own opinions. I think he's really good on the ball. I think he's a pretty good centre back for his price, but I do think he's got issues. I don't think he's the most physically dominant defender. Maybe that's why we're looking at some of these other options, but I'm not too sure. It's one to follow, I guess, but unless we see something big happen in terms of any potential court cases or legal action to sign our own player, I don't know. I don't know what will happen there. Dark Row. Oh, he's talking to Bart. Sorry. And Nuba said, I would tell Sean Malacia if we sign Reguilon. I'm tired of the antics. Injured all season long, now risking furthering his injury by being available for England. Yeah, look, that's frustrating, and I totally get it. I totally get it. I guess it's just one of these deals, and I hate repeating the term "let's just wait and find out." But I would be surprised if someone comes in for Luke Shaw at this point. Luke Shaw at the minute, there's big question marks over his long-term future at United because of his injuries. Is he ever going to be able to stay fit again? Is he ever going to be able to play 30 or 40 matches in a season again? Massive questions over that. He's not overly sellable because of that, I think. But I will bring you guys some other updates. This is coming in from Muppeteers on Joshua Zirkzee. So he is the top striker choice. The concern for some time at United had been how to convince him to accept the role on offer. United are happy with the fee and the wages and the cost. Discussions have took place between the player and Erik ten Hag, and United have been encouraged by those talks. He is viewed as a fantastic opportunity to give us flexibility in attack and give us something different. At the Euros, and Milan are still close, but the optimism is that United can do a deal, and that's coming from within as well. United are also interested in Ivan Toney, been of interest to the club for some time, provides a different type of profile, but there is concerns over costs as well. No active talks are taking place. And finally, there's a couple of different options that they've highlighted. United might have a small interest in Jonathan David, Calvert-Lewin and Brian Brobby, all unlikely for various reasons, but have been considered, and there would be backup cut price deals that would be worst case scenarios if signed. So we've got our plans. Seemingly we have our ideas in order, and we've got a list of strikers and stuff that we are interested in. There's another talk as well on the Ligt from Muppeteers. I'll give you guys this one as well. United have open talks with Bayern Munich, but the price they feel is feasible. It's close to 40 million euros, so that's about that 35 million pound mark. It's similar made to the offer for Branthwaite, and the understanding is wages will not be as high and will not be a problem moving forward. So that would align with our talk about potential pay cuts that we've seen over the last couple of weeks as well. Stephanie says 31 likes and 52 watching. Yeah, guys, drop a like if you can. Only takes a second. Did I talk about the layoffs? Said Dark Crow. Yeah, we had a small talk about that. Just a recap, I guess, on that talk in case anyone is new joining in. I think it's disappointing. We want to be a club at the heart of the community, and that's kind of how we're trying to present ourselves, and this whole working with the council to redevelop Old Trafford and the area surrounding Old Trafford into something that can really be a standout feature of the community. That's really good. But then going and sacking a lot of people who are on £30,000, £35,000 a year, that doesn't really align for me anyway. It depends where the layoffs are coming from. I think that some of it will be topper ranking people. I think we've seen that already. We've moved some of the some of the old guard on. I think Barry's moved on and Cliff's moved on. Those were some of the top guys at the club previously under the Glazer regime, but it's just frustrating. We can't really say we're a community club at the heart of our community and then lay off just normal working people who've probably always wanted to work at United as well. I think there's better ways to cut costs. You can cut the same amount that you probably have saved in getting rid of those people and their jobs than you could just do getting rid of someone like Anthony or Jadon Sancho. That saves you more money than any of that there. Anyway, Man Utd says if Rashford has a good heart, he would share his mega wages with affected staff. I don't know, man. You know, can't just blame Marcus Rashford on that anyway. Rajat said, wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Milan. It's one of those, I think Milan maybe have a better offer for him. Zirkzee's concern will be he's 23 years old. He'll want to be starting matches every week. What's the plan? Because can you have Højlund and Zirkzee in the same team? Probably not in the way we play. We play with one striker, so someone's going to have to sit on the bench sometimes, and maybe you do have different options. But we'll see. Nibba said, if Zirkzee needs convincing to coming, we only have one striker and Van Nistelrooy as a coach. Maybe he's not the one. I think the thing is, it's just he's guaranteed to play every week for AC Milan with Giroud going. I think they might have let go of another striker as well, potentially Milan, but I don't know. Maybe he feels more settled in Italy, but I think it's a deal we're going to do. I think there's too much talk about it. There seems to be a good relationship between his agent and United. There does also seem to be progressive talks and good stories coming out. So I would say we still get Zirkzee. I think first three signings you're looking to Ligt, Zirkzee and Ugarte, to be honest. Then I think maybe you go potentially back in for a Tadebo. Maybe then you go in for a Brandthwaite if you have the money for it. A left back option could be options as well. Moses says, I hope United can go for Francesco Coensao from Sociedad and send Anthony the opposite direction. I wouldn't be against that, getting rid of Anthony. I really wouldn't. I think Coensao's looked pretty good at the Euros. I don't think he's the best player I've ever seen, but it all depends. It does all depend, because going into the window, our big priority, guys, was to sign Michael Olise. That was definitely one of the priority deals, and Bayern Munich have got ahead of us. I think the Olise deal and the priority of a right winger, we seen that drop. We seen that kind of fall off a little bit. It all started with a report a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure you guys remember it and can picture it in your head. We were talking about Amad Diallo being a first team player now, not being seen as an academy player, not being seen as a bench option, but being seen in the same view of Kobbie Mainoo and Garnacho and Højlund, somebody who's going to play 30 or 40 matches a season. So I would say giving Amad a chance probably means that we won't be signing right wingers in this window, or at least it's not going to be a priority. I think that's maybe where we're sitting at the minute. Steph says 38 likes. Guys, there's 56 people in here. Let's see if we can get up to 50 likes on the stream. Would be really appreciated. And big ups to everybody for hitting that sub button as well. We'll have another quick check, because I think I seen a Scott McTominay story that might interest some people. This coming in from Michael Plant. I'll need to see who he's writing for at the minute. He's writing for Manchester Evening News, but there was talk as well from other sources that Fulham are leading the race to sign Scott McTominay in this upcoming window. Southampton, Newcastle, West Ham would also be keen, but Fulham are expecting to sell João Palhinha to Bayern Munich. You maybe do see McTominay leave in this upcoming window. I'm not too sure what will happen in that one. Katie said we can play two together. Actually, he's very different. He's actually more of an attacking midfielder, playing as a striker. Yeah, he's a very good facilitator. I think he's similar in a lot of ways to Anthony Martial in terms of how he plays and the positions he picks up. Different player, but I think he gets maybe more out of the players we have than what Højlund does. I think he links the play well, and you get more out of Rashford or your Garnachos, your Amads potentially, and that could be a nice way to link up as well. Brendan says, say the usual suspects. Are we talking in terms of the transfers? Yeah, it's all just the same kind of players that we're talking about as well. It's what I call just the zone of frustration, because until we get Uruguay out of Copa America, until we get the Netherlands out of Euro 2024, then I think you're looking at 3 of our first deals of the summer being delayed until potentially the finals of those tournaments. I don't think either Uruguay or Netherlands managed to go the full way. I think Uruguay play Brazil next, so I would expect them to go out there. And then I think, Netherlands against Turkey. I mean, that could go either way. That really could go either way. Brenton's on there as well. Good to see you, buddy. And Rajat says he can play 9-10 wing. Yeah, I think you just want to put him in the right positions. Did Ugarte get injured? Yeah, there was a weird photo went out. He seemed to bend his knee back unnaturally far. He said it was a minor thing, but it's nothing serious, which is good. I'm not too concerned about that there one. But yeah, hopefully it's a deal we get done, and hopefully for a decent price. I think he's a pretty good player. He wouldn't be my first choice, but I think he is still a good player and would improve us. in a lot of ways, and I think winning the ball more in midfield, just having more aggressive midfielders, stopping turnovers, stopping counterattacks, that's only going to help us out in the long run, guys. For me, anyway. Um, Who's Nubis? I'm glad Palhinha's deal is done. Heard rumors Bayern might be interested in Ugarte. Yeah, I think that was just probably just a transfer ruse. It's one of those clubs do it all the time. When they're getting close to players and they want to get the price down, they'll just say, "Yeah, look, we'll just take our deal elsewhere and go buy this player." It's something that they always do. And then I said, "Why are they welcoming another Dutch player?" Yeah, look, that's that's an interesting one because we've complained about Dutch players or ex Ten Hag players being signed for a while, but I think De Ligt is someone, if we can keep fit, you got a really good player there. Concerns over his knee issues if they continue to get worse, but at the minute, maybe should be okay. And then we've got Zirkzee. I would have wanted Zirkzee regardless if Ten Hag was manager or not, and I feel like it's a good move that we're going for him anyway. Steph says we're on the 41 likes. Yes, guys, big ups on that one as well. Really appreciate that there. And yeah, look, that's pretty much us through everything that we wanted to get covered on the show tonight. There was a small story I seen pop up. Let me see. I think, yeah, we'll quickly go through this here one. Does look like United are making changes to Old Trafford. The executive sitting area, we know this here is being moved, so there's going to be no more padded seats in the Stratford End, and we're working on the tunnel as well. Some improvements there, so that's an interesting one, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Like, I don't think we're going to make too big a change to Old Trafford. I'm still not too sure what we're going to be doing on that. Katie said, let me share one of the many years of transfer market frustration in Eastham. We're going to get a here we go anytime for De Ligt. Agreement is imminent. Right, well, that's, there we have it. Katie is feeling confident on De Ligt. I don't think we get anything until he and Zirkzee are off international duty, personally. I don't think they're going to leave the camp. So, we can't get the contract signed or anything. So, for me, that's the only frustration at the minute. And Nuba said De Ligt sale is about 34 million. It's within budget. If Bayern are willing to ask for more, United will walk away. Just like the Brentford deal, everyone's asking for 50 or more. Yeah, that's frustrating. Like, but yeah, like I think we're trying to get rid of these United tax deals where we're just getting charged extortionate fees to buy players, and that's a good thing, guys. We don't want to be paying loads of money for players more than we need to, because we've had enough bad transfer business. Let's get off to a good start, and hopefully with Ashworth in now, with Barada in now, Wilcox in now, I think we've got Ravel coming in as head of recruitment as well, so that's good. We've got Blanc, we've got Brailsford, plenty of sporting expertise, plenty of experience running football clubs, and hopefully that's going to make a big difference to us in this transfer window, and hopefully we can have a big one. Look, guys, I'm going to leave the stream here because my throat is starting to get pretty sore and I feel like my voice might be going. So thanks so much for tuning in. Should be live again tomorrow at the same time, 7 o'clock UK time, so guys, make sure to tune in then if you can. Thanks so much for everyone for hitting the like button and subscribing during today's stream, and we'll catch everyone in the next one.